Hello, Goddess. Welcome back. This is Andrea with You, Our Mind, Body, Soul. And in this space, I guide goddesses to bridge the mind, body, and soul through psychosomatic education, consciousness reconditioning, as well as alchemy and energetics. Welcome back. It's so good to be back having another session with you all. Today, we have a lot to talk about. And of course, I have my notes and something to quench my thirst as we get into this topic. It feels so good to be in this new season and to be sharing these streams of consciousness and to inspire you. I hope that this video is inspirational for you. These are my intentions, especially as we step into the new year. This is a time where we are taking energy and we are transmuting, transforming it, and alchemizing it so that when we do step into the warmer seasons, all of the work that we did during this season can come to the surface and, bring fruitfulness into our life. So before I get too deep into the topic, I want to remind you to please like this video so that the algorithm can do its magical, mysterious things. It helps me so much to be able to continue to provide this free content for you when you do something as simple as tapping that like button. Please remember to share this video so that other goddesses such as yourself can receive these transmissions. And remember, if it's your first time on this channel, hi, welcome. Please remember to subscribe so that you can get notifications when I drop new videos every Monday. And I also have some bonus things coming up because we are getting closer to my birthday season. Yay. Okay. Shout out to the Aquarius people that are watching. So let's get into today's topic. And where we're going to start is with power and energy. Okay. So in order to have power, okay, you must have energy. And each of us in and of ourselves, we are an energy source. So we are all basically like batteries, okay? And anytime you are generating energy, which is a process, okay, you are actually creating a current. So going back to my scientific years when I took physics and everything, we recognize that anytime energy is being provided, okay, so you need energy to turn on the lights, okay, you need energy to fuel your electronics, to fuel your heat, your air conditioning. And in our bodies require energy for us to eat and to metabolize food and then to convert that food into energy. We need energy to then think, okay, and to perform all of our neuromotor skills, okay? And so energy comes in multiple different forms. So your body is an energy circuit, okay? And whenever we're thinking about a channel and how energy is channeled, that means that it is flowing through something. So for example, if we have a thought, I want to move my fingers. I want to move my fingers in my hands. The process of me thinking and then my brain sending that information into my cerebrum, which then sends it down into my spines, and then it goes through all of those pathways and channels down into my extremities, my fingers. It requires energy. Okay, so that is a current of energy, for example. Okay. And in this current, if I had any kind of blocks within this current, then I would not be able to move my hands. I would have a motor deficit, right? Energy moves throughout our body. So sometimes if, for example, our energy is very dense because we have a lot of heaviness, whether it be a lot of emotional heaviness that we can carry that lower where the energy is more dense. In the base of our spines, we can hold a lot of stagnant energy inside of our hips and our wombs. And this energy can accumulate anywhere. But if we're talking about dense energy, it's going to be a bit lower. Okay. And in order for us to move throughout life and do that beautiful creative thing, that dance that we call life, of showing up and finding fulfillment and joy and flexibility and expression, we want to have open channels, open currents. Okay. And there's a current of energy that flows throughout our spine. Okay. Where it's more dense at the base and then it's more light at the top of the spine. Click the link for the Mount Shasta meditation to get an energy clearing that I brought from my vacation over in Mount Shasta. That video is now available for you. Thank you for your patience with that. But we want to keep our energy channels clear because they are currents, okay? So rivers, for example, are examples of small currents, okay? They're small currents that then always find themselves back to the larger pool, which is the ocean. Everything is connected, okay? So the currents that run through my extremities, they run back into my spine. The currents of thoughts and ideas that run through my mind, they are either connecting through my body to send impulses or they're going out into the universe. So I want you to imagine that you are an energy source, okay? And everything surrounding you is somehow connected to you as an energy source. All right. So just sit with that thought and with that idea as we move through this concept and this topic. Okay. We're all connected and we are also light. So when you get down to a metaphysical level, we are actually light beings. So we are like we have like multiple little packets of light, which is why you can do things like take a picture of the aura. Like if you go to a metaphysical shop, some places they'll have these specific cameras that are actually able to take pictures and take snapshots of the energy field that your body is emitting. Okay. So any kind of material object at a subcellular level is vibrating. Okay. And this vibration, it is going to then create an electromagnetic pulse that comes off of you. Okay. And the aura is this electromagnetic pulse that is right on the surface of our body. Sometimes it can generate, some people that are very high vibe and generate a lot of energy, this electromagnetic field expands out, to very large distances outside of themselves, which is why if you are in the presence of a guru, or you are in the presence of someone sacred, or you are in the presence like the Dalai Lama, for example, or like if you're in the presence of, someone that is like a high performance athlete. I really admire high performance athletes because I strive to be a high performance athlete, or anyone that's at the top of their game, at the top of their field. They generate a certain impulse, a certain electromagnetic field that is released from them. Okay. So we're always giving off energy. Okay. We're just these energy sources. Okay. And when we are talking about the things that they fear, it's important for you to understand the things that powers that be, however you want to label them. You may have a label in mind of, what or who is fearing you. They fear the fact that you could break out of the current. So there's a current that we're all on when we wake up on a day-to-day basis. Okay. And the average person is in a current that is cyclical. So every day there's a circle. Okay. They are receiving the same kind of information, checking the daily news, looking to see what the latest celebrity is doing, or like what the news is funneling you. And you'll know that you're in a current when every day you are being exposed to the same people, the same places, and the same information, going to the same job, year in and year out, knowing that you're not satisfied. There's a loop that's happening. There's a circle. Okay. So your energy is being funneled into a pattern that looks the same day in and day out, weekend at the weekend hits, And then, you're going out to drink with the same people that have been doing the same thing since you met them, right? Okay. So this is a cycle. Okay. And when we are in these cycles, I've been there before, when we are in these cycles, we have to understand that as as generators, as energy generators, we are fueling the media platforms that we are constantly streaming through. We are fueling the ideas that, people are paying us to show up and exchange our time and energy for. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself, what am I powering? What am I putting my power and what am I putting my energy into every day? So when you wake up, is the first thing that you do is to pick up your phone and scroll through Instagram. That fresh morning energy, when you first wake up and you reinsert your consciousness into this body, this avatar, and then you wake up and you're getting ready to go and live your life. That energy that is now has come down from the dream realm, the astral realm, and the energy that your body spent overnight to rest and to digest and to create, recreate and reconstruct the muscle tissue and the organ tissue that you need to live. Instead of sitting with that energy, that sacred energy, you go and you pick up your phone or you go and you check your email. Instead of funneling that energy back into yourself, you have now sent your energy out into the world or into a paradigm, a schemata that does not support your authentic being and who you are authentically becoming. So just switching around your morning routine, swapping out the coffee for a cup of water, waiting to have a cup of coffee, until after you've had your waters and your electrolytes. I was just talking to a client about this the other day. She had no idea that she was severely dehydrated. She was like, I'm drinking 16 ounces of water. And I'm like, girl, you need to be drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. So for example, if, let's say you weigh 170 pounds, then, you need half of 170, which is 85 ounces of water a day. I think that math is right. I'm not a mathematician. I think that's right. Okay, so you need 85 ounces of water, right? Because we're electrochemicals and you also need electrolytes. Now I'm going on like a side tangent, but just follow me here, okay? You need to be having electrolytes because the electromagnetic impulse that our body produces on a daily basis requires electrolytes as well. Okay, so just thinking about how we are spending our precious energy in the form of our time and our attention. Okay, and then seeing how we can redirect that into refueling ourselves. Because when we step outside of just the everyday thoughtless motions and behaviors, or if you find yourself asking the same question for months or for years, you're always having the same questions, it's because you need to step out of this circular current and break through into the spiral of life. Okay. And the spiral of life, we tap into that when we really start to ask more questions, when we start to expose ourselves to new information, and when we start to tap into new aspects of ourselves that we were unaware of before. Because imagine how dynamic this human existence is. Imagine how complex just the body itself is, how we have several different organs and bodies that interact with one another, how the heart speaks to the brain, and how the brain speaks with the gut, and how the nervous system connects and speaks to the musculoskeletal system, and so on and so forth. Just thinking about how complex just living in this body itself is, and then recognize the fact that the microcosm is the macrocosm. So the as above is also the so below, and realizing that just as complex as we are on the inside, is just as complex as the universe and the world that is surrounding us. So just sitting with the vibration of the vastness of our human being and our human existence, and just breathing that in, that is a meditation in and of itself. I remember when I was a little girl, I used to sit on top of my parents' car in the front yard and just stare up at the stars for hours. And I would just reflect on how tiny I was on the whole planet, like in comparison to the size of the whole planet in the universe. And I literally I remember that there were years that I would just do that, or like sit outside on the back doorstep and just look up like at the trees and the stars and just think about how I was just a tiny little speck, an insignificant speck in this world. And so, everything is reflective of one another, though. The body is powerful, it is complex, and so is this world that we live in. So when we start to get curious about these things and we start to, reflect on the vastness of the world, and I think that just reflecting on the vastness of the world and how small we are in comparison to the fact that there are trillions of people on this planet, and that the world is just such a large place, I feel like just sitting and reflecting on that in itself is a meditative gateway to expansion. So instead of thinking, wow, I'm small and I am insignificant, if you start to reframe that and you start to think about how actually vast everything is, because remember, everything is a channel. There are currents surrounding us and flowing inside of us and coming out of us. Okay. There is vastness there. And I feel like that is a really great way of allowing yourself to expand and to open up to your potential, and to start to get you to energetically break out of the loops and out of the cycles of feeling and thinking that you are small. Okay. And recognizing that you are more than just a program that wakes up and does the same thing. Because what do robots and programs and computers do? They have software. They have been given a task, an electronic. Okay. They have been given a task, and you know that you are guaranteed that when you turn on that device, or you're working with this robot or this system. I used to work in a warehouse, and all the computers were the same. The packaging system was the same. That's not who we are. Okay. We are not meant to be in this singular dualistic paradigm. We are more than that. And the fear that they have of us is that we come into an awareness of the fact that we are more than that. And then we start to tap into our unique and authentic potential, because there is even more power that we are able to generate when we start to become fueled and tapped into higher sources than just looking at the reality and taking it for face value. Let me get some water on that thought. Let me check in with my notes here. Okay. So you ever heard the term like a lateral move, where you move to a different job and you're like getting the same pay, but it's just a different job, like another day, same shit, like that kind of energy? That's the cycle. That's the loop. Like this video, leave a comment below if you feel me and you want to break out of that loop, or if you have broken out of that loop. Okay. So that's lateral. Horizontal is when you begin to spiral, and then you start to grow and you start to expand out of these simple forms of existence that do not require a lot of creativity, and you expand into more authentic forms of expression and existence, and you're having new experiences now. You're checking things off of your bucket list, and it just feels so good to start to set higher goals for yourself and to strive for larger things. And also to start to generate more power in life. Okay. So your activated power comes from you being awakened, aware, and aligned. Okay. So we can sleepwalk through life and always have our head down in the screen, or have ourselves inside, consumed by these cyclical thought processes and programs, and having the same fear and not wanting to overcome the same fear and not tapping into the motivation. Or we can start to awaken and to develop awareness, consciousness awareness, and start to align with higher forms of expression and existence. Okay. And power in itself, there are multiple kinds of power. Let's talk about different kinds of power. So we've talked about different forms of energy. Okay. But power in itself, feminine power is a magnetic type of energy. Okay. Because the feminine, so if you think about a battery, coming back to the battery operating, there's always a positive and a negative end of the battery. So the positive end of the battery is the masculine end of the battery, and the negative end of the battery is the feminine end of the battery. Okay. So that means that when the current, it's going to flow into that aspect. So feminine energy draws in by nature. Feminine energy is something that draws in towards it. It magnetizes towards it. So when you start to get activated in your feminine energy, which is going to make life so much easier, I'll tell you, my life has become so much easier since I developed feminine energy skills and learned how to lead my life through my feminine energy. Because my masculine energy, I've always had really great masculine energy. That's just like the standard way format in which most of us have to get it in this world, is by being masculine and, thrusting your way through life. Okay. But that feminine energy is magnetic. Okay. It draws things in towards you. Okay. It is attractive. It's seductive. It's alluring. Feminine energy is also, feminine power is also mysterious, because when we see something that we find is mysterious or a conundrum, what is our instinct? You want to learn more about it. So when you are in your feminine energy, you're not just letting everything come through the surface. Like, people will think that, like, they think that they know me, but they don't, because I am vast and endless, because I allow for my feminine energy activation, which is sacred, it's ancient, it's deep. It's not something that can just be explained away in a 5-minute conversation or a 10-minute conversation. There are things about myself that I wake up and I learn about, in every chapter, every level of my life, I'm learning something new. So another way to develop your feminine power is to know that you are always becoming and you are always evolving. And then there is always going to be something new to learn about yourself. So you're approaching life through a curious way, which is then going to attract so much beauty and deliciousness towards you, and just that ability to be curious. Okay. And, that is just something that really, really attractive women know how to do. They know how to create an allure. They know how to talk less and be more. So these are just simple ways in which you can heighten your feminine energy skills. Is just to allow your vibration, the way that you are, your essence, to speak for you. And it is a game changer. And also, when you are able to do that, sit in your feminine energy underneath the correct circumstances, you'll start to learn a lot more about the people that you're surrounded with when you're able to do that, because then you'll be in a state of observation, which is a state of power. Being a skilled observer, being a skilled observer is a power. Okay. So at rest, we all as human beings emit about 100 watts of energy at rest. Okay. And with 100 watts, let's say we had a solar panel, we would be able to charge small electronics like computers and laptops. and things like that. So just the energy that you emit alone, let's say we have plugs in our back and we could plug in this energy and we could siphon this energy to fuel something, you would be able to fuel a laptop, a phone. Like, isn't that, don't you think that's just fascinating and amazing? I do. I think that that's incredible. And as I was saying, the people when we're in their field, like these people that we have reverence for or awe for, athletes, like an athlete that's on the field playing a game can generate up to 3 to 400 watts of energy. So 3 to 4 times more energy. You can draw upon 3 to 4 times more energy when you are intentionally engaging in something that you need to be fueling your energy into. Okay. So this is the power of who we are. And so we are actual batteries. And just by cultivating your energy, eating a healthy, balanced diet full of, colorful food vibrations, plants, and drinking and hydrating and supplementing and getting the proper amount of rest, just that alone will shift your vibration. And in the 14-day Mind, Body, Soul Reset course, I teach you how to increase your pranic energy. So pranic energy is life force energy, okay? Your life force energy is what fuels you and what allows you to live, okay? And when we have very high pranic energy, through all of the things that I just mentioned, on top of everything else that I'm talking about in this video that will raise your consciousness, okay, when you have a high level of pranic energy, you're vibrating differently, okay? And that makes you luminescent, it makes you shiny, it makes you attractive. And again, remember that's the theme of this year is how can we glow? How can we be more glowy? How can we, get that shine and really bathe in our own light and feel comfortable and safe in our own light? That is what the theme of this year is about so far, okay? So what we're going to do is a quick meditation. Go ahead and ground your feet, ground into whatever it is you're sitting in, whether you're sitting in a chair, if you're sitting in a couch, go ahead and bring your feet into Indian style or just sit up straight and let yourself be grounded by whatever is holding you. And we're going to start to take some deep breaths here, really deep breaths through the center of our being. And I want you to imagine that there is a point of light at the center, at the core of who you are, within your belly. And as you breathe, I want you to imagine that this light is slowly beginning to expand and fill up every cell of your body. And just let that happen. Let your cells fully embrace the light pouring through you, fueling through you, until the light begins to take up the space around you and it begins to encapsulate you in an orb. Imagine yourself in a sphere now. And imagine that this sphere source came from within your center, within your core. And you're soaking up this essence, knowing that it is divinely sourced and divinely generated. And then we can sit a few more moments, allowing that light to encapsulate us and hold us. and enhance our vibration. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. We're going to let that light shine, leave it shiny, and leave the lights on. And then we're going to recenter ourselves. So bring your attention down into that area below your belly button, above your womb, your Dan Kien. And we're just going to leave it like that. How did that feel? Let me know. Leave it in the comments below if you'd like to share. I feel really great. I feel that's like taking a small hit of caffeine. And your girl has not been drinking coffee, so I really appreciate that. It feels good. Okay. So what are you giving your power away to? Because you are a powerful being. So when you leave this video, or if you didn't pause it before, I want you to take some time to journal. What is receiving my power? Where's my power going to? Okay. Start to ask yourself that. Because consciousness is power. Recognize that consciousness is power. Consciousness is awareness. Okay. So animals have consciousness, plants have consciousness, humans have consciousness. Okay. And our consciousness begins to evolve with thought. So humans now have thought, and we're able to have more and more complex thoughts because we have the power of language. And language is a double-edged sword. Okay. So language can help you to paint color on your reality and to create different narratives about your reality, but it can also keep you, closed to a certain level of reality if you're not willing to do your inner work or to break through old patterns and stages of limiting beliefs. Okay. But there's also form. So anything that we believe in enough and put enough energy and conscious thought into, which is going to motivate our behavior, will then become form. Okay. And so the next thing that I want you to ask is, how are you creating your own happiness? So just as we are divinely source beings, we were created from God, from spirit and source, which means that we are reflections of that love and of that source energy. Okay. Just as we were created in the image of God, we must now then come into this lifetime as conscious beings and create our own happiness. I remember when I was younger and I had no idea how to live life or how to be happy, because I was so muddled and I was so encumbered by the experiences of, being verbally abused, being physically abused, and all those sad things that I experienced in life, and everything that I was told that I could never be coming up in my life. When I really, really started to tap into my sacred being and get curious and really start to have a ravenous desire for an elevated life, where I had certain things that I just wanted out of life. And the main thing was to be happy. And I found that there were times where I had much, and then there were times where I had nothing. Okay, where I had nothing. And in these times, I taught myself how to genuinely be happy with just being present and being grateful for the little things. And so I retrained my vibration out of suffering, and I trained my body to be grateful for the simplicity of existing and having the little things. And from there, everything else grew and everything began to grow. So I started to create my own happiness, especially in the face of challenging circumstances. And the biggest thing that I've learned how to do that has changed my life the most was how to be grateful, even where situations in life where it could have seemed like I could have found things to not be grateful about. And this will take you out of a basic stage of survival consciousness that is fear-based, that will keep you inside of the loops and the cycles of the systemic paradigm that is taking our energy and just funneling it right back into powers that do not have our interest in mind. Gratitude is a paradigm shifter. okay? And channeling your own happiness and gratefulness for your life. It is a big, big game changer, okay? So consciousness, animals have consciousness, plants have consciousness, okay? And humans have a different kind of consciousness because of thought and because of so many different things, okay? And we are powerful because we are not just animals. You know, some machines even have consciousness, like robots, okay? Which is why they, to an extent, are listening to information and they are able to grow and shift, okay? There is a spectrum of consciousness, like the algorithm has like a spectrum of consciousness, but human consciousness is very deep and it's vast because our consciousness, if you imagine being that great pool that all currents of energy flow back into the ocean, okay? Consciousness is just like that, okay? We have generational consciousness, which we inherit from our parents' parents and our ancestors, our ancient ancestors and lineages. For example, some families and households, you know, they know how to cook really well. And it's because where their family originated at, they have these skills of cooking. Some families, you know, were maybe farmers, and so you naturally have that connection with the land. Some of your ancestors were into like Ifa and voodoo and, you know, Yoruba traditions. All of that stuff, that consciousness and that awareness is inside of you, waiting for you to activate it. Okay. So there's generational concept consciousness, your bloodlines, there's spiritual consciousness, your past lives. So my spiritual consciousness is very deep. It's very deep, and I'm very much connected with that. My past from Lemuria and the light code activations that I received when I was, you know, one of the seeding cultures, one of the seeding humans, okay, cultures. And that brought me music and how to work with light and dance and movement. Okay. I learned this. I learned this about myself through my devotion. Okay. And so I have those light codes. They were inside of me, and all I had to do was ask for them to be activated. And then they came online, and I'm able to use them in the form of Reiki, energy work on myself, utilizing my voice, utilizing my body. So you have access to certain things that may just come in the form of an intuitive nudge, or maybe something that you're very well aware of that spirit is asking you to tap into and to claim that birthright. Okay. Within our wombs, especially as women, and because we have wombs and because we have mitochondrial DNA, we are passing the information for humanity. All of humanity is passed through the womb, simply because we hold mitochondrial DNA. Okay. So mitochondrial DNA is not the same as the rest of the DNA that, you know, men carry in their body. Women have mitochondrial DNA on top of the regular DNA. And in this mitochondrial DNA are the archives of ancient history and ancient lineage. Okay. And so there is a consciousness within us that are the holders of this knowledge that we get access to. Okay. And in our DNA, these things are here, and we just have to tap back into them. And it's harder nowadays because life in the world is so polluted by outside influence, by the white noise of the world and things that are happening. But we can always reactivate these things, even though we don't have the sacred circles that we had when, you know, generations before us, the women would go off during the times of their moon cycles, and they would have red tents, and then they would bleed together, and they would have these connections and tell stories. Okay. We don't have those anymore, but we can create that with our awareness and with our wisdom, and we can start to share, and we can start to grow, and we can start to connect these channels of energy, which wisdom is a form of channeling energy, so that we can grow and expand together. Okay. And Epigenetics is the process of changing your environment in order to change your DNA. So, yes, diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular issues may run inside your family, but you can stop that cycle by shifting the behaviors that contribute to that genetic expression. It's called epigenetics. It's how your environment shapes your DNA. Okay. So, yes, diabetes can run in your family. Diabetes runs in my family, but I can choose to not eat sugar and bread every single day of my life. And I can reprogram my body to be healthy and well and to thrive. Obesity runs in my family. So with every day that I wake up and I choose what it is I want to eat, I can choose a healthy lifestyle and a diet that contributes to me being slim, thick, and healthy. Okay. So we all have that choice, and your choices and what you're exposing yourself into your environment from your environment is going to affect your DNA. So with epigenetics, meditation and developing a healthy, consistent meditative practice will shift your DNA out of these toxic cycles. We can shift our DNA through the spiritual route. We can shift our DNA through our behavior, and we can also shift our DNA by the power of our conscious thoughts and our mind. Okay. And you can check out the 14-day Mind, Body, Soul Reset course if you're really looking to up level your health. And it will shift your whole life, not just your physical health. Okay. Because when you change one aspect of your life, especially your health, which is the foundation of everything, okay, your body, your frequency, when you shift that, everything, your money starts to change, your relationships start to change, the way that people treat you, opportunities, everything changes when you are fueling your battery with high quality energy. And this is why they're afraid of you, because you might tap into that energy, okay? And you might expand and you might create the revolution. But the revolution begins within you. It begins in your body, in your consciousness, in the way that you show up for your life, okay? Let me look at my notes here. So before I conclude this video, I just want you to reflect on how powerful of a being you are, and ask yourself, are you really honoring the power of your whole being, or are you just honoring your ability to go to work and make money? Or are you honoring your ability to create powerful change and to start something new and to be someone beautiful and great? Or are you just confining yourself to what other people want you to be and not really stepping into the light of your full potential? Okay. Because if you did, it would change everything for this world. It would change the person next to you, because we are all influenced. We're all influenced by the people that we are surrounded with. So as we continue to move into this year, I want to encourage you to start striving to be the highest vibration in the room. And it doesn't matter what that looks like for you or how that manifests for you, but I want to encourage you to maintain a healthy and high vibration this year, okay? And find that goddess glow within yourself each and every day when you wake up. All right, so that's all I have for you. I will catch you in the next one. One love.